Arapaima have developed over evolutionary time this sort of dual strategy in respiration where they use their lungs to absorb oxygen, but they use their gills to unload carbon dioxide and to excrete certain kinds of waste.
For anglers, wrestling in Arapaima is an extreme test of endurance, the conquest of a career.
It's quite hard to catch in the wild for most anglers. It certainly is, the dream fish.
October 16th, 2007, Thailand's Krabi province. British fisherman Keith Purton is enjoying a 7-day fishing vacation. He's come to Stuart Gillham's fishing resort, one of Thailand's best places to find megafish. This morning, Keith is up at sunrise, casting bait into the resort's 3.5-hectare lake, joined by seasoned father and son team, Stuart and Sean Gillham.
1 meter.
A few hours brings in some good-sized catches, but Keith has no idea a whopper lies in wait. Like a jolt of electricity, the angler braces himself against the sudden, powerful pull, peeling off meters of line in seconds.
It powered off down the lake that way, and really there wasn't much we could do to stop it.
Underwater, it's a monster Arapaima. It's so strong, Keith has to fight his instinct to yank back his reel. If he pulls too hard on the line, it could snap.
Ended up having to follow it down the lake because there was no way that I could try to turn it. It was just going so quickly and so powerfully.
As hard as he tries, Keith has met his match. Each time he reels the fish closer to shore, it takes off again for deeper water.
A stalemate here. Oh, maybe not.
And it gets worse. 30 minutes into the fight, everything stops. In the middle of the lake, either the line or the fish is stuck in the mud. Keith worries the longer the air-breathing fish stays under, the greater its danger of suffocation.
We didn't want that to kill the fish by it, entangling itself and getting stuck down there, because they do have to come up for air.
Fishing guide Sean Gillham takes charge. He jumps into the lake and heads out to the tangled brush, pulling up the line, hoping to free the fish by hand.
Luckily, as soon as he started giving it a few gentle tugs, the fish decided to move again.
Success. Once again, the giant fish is on the move, swimming fast. Now it's Keith's job to end the showdown. But the exhausted angler's almost at the breaking point. At last, after a 40-minute tug of war, Keith gets the behemoth to shore. It's a flipping, twisting Arapaima whopper caught. But there's a danger. The fighting fish's long body is vulnerable to a life-threatening injury.
He's got a big blood vessel runs down his back. If you bend this blood vessel the wrong way, it snaps, he bleeds to death.
Thankfully, experienced resort owner Stuart Gillham and his crew are prepared, standing by with a specially designed net cage that keeps the fish in safe alignment.
Yes! Yes! There was a big cheer or a big cry of yes. It was quite a relief to get to see it actually go into the net.
3 men can barely lift it for a fast photo. An estimated 190 centimeters long, 90 centimeters around, and roughly 150 kilos. Stuart gauges the Arapaima is larger than any caught on record.
Right, that's it, that's all I'm doing. Okay.
Good, thank you guys.
Keith and crew release the giant back to deep water, safe, alive, and ready to grow even bigger.
It's enormous, isn't it? I don't think I've ever touched a fish or seen a fish that big. It's really incredible.
But Keith's Arapaima may soon be among the last on Earth. While their introduction to Thailand could turn them into a dangerous invasive species here, the reality is Arapaima may become extinct everywhere else.
The biggest 2 threats to Arapaima populations today are the same thing that threatens so many big fish. Number 1, commercial fishing. They're big, meaty animals. You can't blame people for wanting to eat them. There's a lot of dinner on an Arapaima. The degradation of the Amazon ecosystem and all the habitats surrounding it, once that habitat's gone, if it goes, there can't possibly be any Arapaimas in that habitat.
In such cases of increasingly threatened big fish, biologists may have to intervene to repopulate the species, turning to adopted man-made habitats or creating captive breeding programs in controlled environments.
Arapaima are unusual because they really can be bred in captivity or in relatively close circumstances. For such a big fish, it can happen. And so they really do have the potential for captive breeding to make an important contribution to wild population.
I think for many anglers, particularly anglers who travel internationally, the Arapaima must be the prize species that most anglers aspire to.
Ghostly, shimmering, powerful. The tarpon. Among the world's mammoth monster fish, these ocean hunters have a killer asset: night vision.
Big and silvery. There's just really nothing like it. Big silver scales on the side of the animal with a huge eye up in the head.
Called the Silver King, this shiny Atlantic beast can reach almost 2.5 meters long and weigh over 150 kilos. Tarpon are so well adapted to grow and thrive, they remain relatively unchanged since the time of the dinosaurs.
The fossil record of tarpons goes back a long way. We think we have fossils of tarpons that are 100 million years old.
For millennia, tarpon growth has come down to survival of the fittest. Females spawn millions of eggs each year. Only a fraction make it to adulthood. But those super specimens that do survive are built to last, living for 50 years or more, feeding and growing to mammoth proportions with few natural enemies.
It's always body size is your ticket to protection. Being big allows them to escape the threats of predators, and it lets them move into the open water where they can hunt for bigger prey.
One boost to their big size: the tarpon is a night stalker, born with nature's answer to infrared technology. This unusual ability is thanks to enormous eyes that work like highly sensitive light absorbers. Giant lenses capture every luminescent particle in the water, maximizing reflections, isolating moving shapes, helping tarpon home in on prey. In deep waters, it's a huge seeing and stalking advantage, allowing tarpon to snag fish other predators miss, ambushing a meal with ease. To fishermen, tarpon are extraordinary prize fighters, one of the ocean's toughest opponents.
They carry the worldwide reputation of the king of all sport fish. They're so incredible fighting fish.
August 9th, 1992, the Gulf of Mexico near Galveston, Texas. Teenage angler Robert Lord Jr. is out with an afternoon fishing expedition. Their guide, Captain Mike Williams, one of the Gulf's most experienced tarpon fishermen.
He knows the fish really well. He knows their patterns. He's a tarpon genius.
The boat drifts offshore for 2 hours under the blistering Texas sun. Waiting for a bite, Robert works to remove a messy tangle from a fishing reel. Suddenly, a shimmering underwater surge shoots past the boat. It's huge.
I thought this was, Jaws or something. In my 14-year-old brain, I was thinking, okay, this was a gigantic white flash. It seemed like it was as big as the boat. It must be a great white shark.
Hey, that's a big fish right there.
Feeling a tug, Robert races to untangle the line.
Got my fingers all intertwined in the fishing line. And if it starts pulling line off, it could have ripped off a finger.
But before he gets far, the fish bites hard into the hook and tears off.
Oh, there, I got one, I got one!
Just in time, Robert manages to free his hand. The line spools out quickly and cleanly.
Get that rod down, let him go.
But as the fish bucks and pulls, the young angler braces for the fight of his life.
I was just, having a huge adrenaline rush, and my heart was just thumping.
Watch that line, make sure you reel that line up even.
Trying to shake the hook, the tarpon leaps high above the water.
There he is. Big boy, see how thick that fish is?
Airborne, it's even bigger than anyone imagined.
That's the biggest fish I've seen all year right there, buddy.
Everyone's just shocked because even at this long distance, you can tell it's just a, once in a lifetime thing to see something like this.
The tarpon seems to get stronger with each leap. The battle's on.
Don't stop him, let him go.